It would be hard to argue against the Mission Impossible franchise being one of the biggest and more successful action film franchises that we have today in cinema. It also wouldn't be far-fetched to say that it has helped Tom Cruise's ascension towards the top when it comes to bona fide action stars on the big screen, rivaling only actors who have portrayed James Bond. With over 7 films spanning a time period of 29 years and an 8th film on the way on May 23rd of this year, I will be exploring the evolution of Mission Impossible itself, as well as tackling the elephant in the room which has plagued many Hollywood franchises, the dramatic increase in budget over the years regarding the production of these films. My name is Neff, and this is part 1 of the evolution of Mission Impossible. Let's rewind things back to 1992. Numerous efforts by Paramount Pictures were made to create a film adaptation to be a direct sequel of the Mission Impossible TV series, which aired from 1988 to 1990, but plans had stalled over several years. Tom Cruise was the saving grace, founding Cruise Wagner Productions in the same year. Cruise decided to take on Mission Impossible as the production company's inaugural project. The reason for Cruise's enthusiasm? Cruise had been a huge fan of the 1966 TV series and simply felt that the story would make for a good feature film. Cruise had convinced Paramount to give his production company a total budget of $80 million, and the rest is history. Development began with filmmaker Sidney Pollack, and later on Brian De Palma was brought in to direct the film. Most of the finalized screenplay was penned by Steven Zaillian, David Koepp, and Robert Towne under Cruise's and De Palma's direction. Interestingly enough, when the film was finally greenlit, David Koepp was fired, with Robert Towne being his replacement as lead writer on the production. Koepp was eventually brought back on later. According to De Palma, the goal of the script was to constantly surprise the audience. When Koepp was brought back on as a writer, he was paid a salary of $1 million by Gloria Katz and William Huck to rewrite an original script for the film, in which most of the plot points that you see in the film are straight from off the page. Brian De Palma designed many of the action sequences, but neither Koepp or Towne were satisfied with the story that would have these events take place. Towne was the mastermind behind the structure of the film, creating the blueprint for the beginning, middle, and end of the story, while De Palma and Koepp focused on the plot development. Principal photography began in March of 1995 and concluded in August of 1995 with filming locations such as London Pinewood Studios, Prague, Scotland, and the United States. De Palma convinced Cruise to set the first act of the film in Prague. This was a rarity at the time, and Paramount was hesitant as they wanted the budget to remain in the $40 to $50 million range. Cruise insisted on a big, showy action piece to enthrall the audience into this film. This addition brought the production cost up to $62 million. The original opening sequence was a bit more sophisticated, which introduced a love triangle between Jim Phelps, Claire, and Ethan that was deleted on the advice of none other than George Lucas, who stated that it took the test audience out of the genre, per statements from Brian De Palma. During the infamous vault heist where Cruise is suspended by cable, the actor placed British pounds in his shoes as a counterweight to stay level and increase intensity as the scene plays through. One of the most notable scenes in the film is the final showdown on top of a moving train. Initially being rejected by France's authorities for use of the TGV, De Palma visited railroads in 2 other continents in an attempt to find a suitable location for the sequence. While De Palma was scouting, Cruise decided to dine with the TGV owners, and on the following day the crew was given permission to shoot the scene. Now that's politics. Exterior shots of the train were filmed on the Glasgow Southwestern Line. Most of the sequence was filmed at Pinewood's 007 stage against blue screen technology, which was later digitized by the Industrial Light and Magic Company. The film was delivered on time and under the budget Cruise was allotted. Cruise, of course, handled all of the stunts himself. From a musical aspect, Danny Elfman composed the score, replacing composer Alan Silvestri. Sources close to the production have stated that Silvestri had written and composed over 20 minutes of original music, and the decision to replace him came down to Tom Cruise in post-production. With only a few weeks to compose a score, Elfman surely delivered. The film uses Lalo Schifrin's original theme for Mission Impossible, which is an ode to the original inspiration. With the film being completed and turned into Paramount Pictures, Mission Impossible went on to release on May 22, 1996, and grossed over $450 million at the global box office, becoming one of the most popular action/espionage films of the 90s and a hit sensation. Comprised of a star-studded cast that included Tom Cruise, Jon Voight, Ving Rhames, Henry Czerny, Jean Reno, and Christian Scott Thomas, how could Paramount fail? Ladies and gentlemen, I really hope that you have enjoyed this first part of the evolution of Mission Impossible. Next, I will be tackling Mission Impossible 2, and trust me, this will not be a chapter that you want to miss out on. Please like this video, share this video with a couple of friends and colleagues, let them know to subscribe to the channel. My name is Neff, and I hope to see you in the next chapter of the evolution of Mission Impossible.